I'm LaQuetta Carpenter. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Theater at Purdue University. The SAG-AFTRA strike is there's a large collection of things that it's actually about. I think the three main points are really dealing with wages, needing inflation-adjusted wages, dealing with streaming residuals, and then looking at AI and what the future of AI is going to do to performers and how we deal with that and get in front of that. There's a lot of other issues that are in it, but those are the main focuses of the strike. And so we're trying to find some sort of happy medium between the producers and the actors that we can all agree with. So one of the main issues of the strike, and probably the most predominant one for the actors side of the strike, is looking at inflation-adjusted wages. And so we've had these 3 years in a row. 2021 we had 7% inflation, and then 2022 we had 6.5% inflation, and then this year we've got 3% so far. So you look at all of that over time, and an incremental raise is just not going to be sufficient. So what it eventually turns into is a pay cut for all actors across the board, a pretty substantial pay cut. So actors have asked for something that they've never asked for before, which is an 11% raise on the front end of the contract. So in year one, an 11% raise. The producer came back with a counter offer that was 5% first year, 4% second year, 3.5% third year. So overall, it's the same number, but it's not the same number in many ways, because right now we need those inflation-adjusted wages in order to pay rent. As everybody knows, all the cost of everything. This is unprecedented inflation for the last few years. Usually it hovers around 2%. So this is a big deal, and that's why this is a major sticking point. So while the producers have offered something, and I hope that this is something that we can come to, it's not really adequate for the financial realities of actors that are just trying to pay their bills like anybody else. So your average working class actor is making that $1,082 a day, which again may seem like a lot, but generally speaking, an actor is very lucky if they're going to get 6 to 12 days of work in a year. So if you look at that over time, it's $120 a day that they're asking for, which is really not a huge ask. There's two ways that actors get paid on an episodic or a film project. One of them is the day rate that you get. It's also called your session fee, and that is set. There's minimums that are set for that. And then most of your money, or a lot of your money, comes from residuals, which means when the thing that you make, when you actually end up in it, so as long as you don't get cut out of it, and you end up in the final product, and it gets shown somewhere, you get paid again. And then every time it gets shown outside of what you were originally contracted for, you get paid again. So residuals are the bread and butter of, particularly the bread and butter of working class actors, but it's also what allows you to exist, past the prime of your career. So that when you're in your retirement age, you're still getting residuals from stuff that you made 20, 30 years ago, and that is what allows people to do this as a profession. So the thing with streaming that became tricky and different was that streaming operates very differently. So when you have advertising revenues from network TV and you show a television show and then you air it again, there is a very easy way to account for who gets residuals and how much, because there's a formula to it. Streaming kind of broke that formula in a way because it doesn't work the same way that a network works. It doesn't show on Thursday nights and then show again in August on Thursday night. It shows anytime you want it. And so residuals kind of don't exist for streaming in the same way. Since the pandemic, we've seen every single major studio come up with a streaming network. And now it's the dominant form. And that happened in 3 years because of the pandemic, so that we have fundamentally changed the way that we consume media and entertainment. And this is new. And because it's new, we need to really look at these residuals and how somebody gets paid from them, because we have a lot of people that are doing this work, that are doing the same work that they would do if it was showing up on a network television show, but they're not getting anywhere close to the same pay structure. So the writer's strike, one of their top strike sticking points is the AI situation, because the technology right now is such that writers can be replaced with AI. And so this is a much more pressing issue for them than it is for actors, but actors are seeing the future and we know where it's going. Our technology hasn't quite caught up to the point where you can replace an actor fully with AI, but it's close. So if we can get in front of the technology, if we can get the safeguards and the protections in place before the technology is there, when the technology is there, we've already got the framework and we know how to legally deal with it, and we can do it fairly and equitably so that people can still know what they're signing and what it will mean. Well, if you've got any ability to donate, there are a couple places you can donate. First of all, through the SAG Foundation, and then through the Entertainment Community Fund, which is going to help give financial support to people who are in desperate need at this time, because it's going to be a long time before the next paycheck comes.